Good morning. Good morning to Austria and good morning to everybody who is watching, or good day, good night, whatever time it is for you watching this. And I want to welcome Chelsea Workman, who is sitting in Austria right now. And this is a new style of interview for myself because I don't know Chelsea very personally yet. We haven't seen each other yet. It's so far it's a virtual connection. And I know you from many posts you put on the Radical Honesty closed Facebook page, and I always felt touched and could relate to what you were writing, and that was my impulse to ask you for this interview. And I want to thank you for the time this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I feel my heart beating, and I feel like warm in my chest hearing what you said about my Facebook post. I imagine I am very active on the Facebook community.
Yes, and also I realized that, and I imagine you are very much into radical honesty, as when you write me an email, you have a little, is it a self-developed icon for radical honesty?
Yeah, yeah. I'm currently taking a business course, which is for radical honesty trainers and trainer candidates, and it's about developing our business. So that's one of the things we learned, like put a little email signature with the link to your website to kind of get your business out there and your work that you're doing. Sometimes, like, I imagine we're not the greatest sellers, but yeah, it's been a good learning experience.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And would you share with me what was like the biggest impact at the beginning radical honesty had to you so that you decided to stick with it?
Yes. Yeah. I think, first of all, when I was introduced to radical honesty, I was already at a place in my life where I was kind of searching for meaning and for sense and like a sense of purpose in my life, for something meaningful and not superficial. So then when I came in touch with radical honesty, it was through my friend Bernie. And shortly after he introduced me to it, I attended one of Tuulia and Pete of Honesty Europe's their workshop. And I think what got me hooked is just the physical sensations of that experience in the workshop. Like I don't know, for the first time in a long time, I felt really alive in my body, like my heart beating and sweating and smelling different. And like, it was like an exciting feeling to really be like living in the present, in the moment with these other people, like exploring what's happening here and now, what's going on between us, and then like watching how all that changes. I don't know. I got somehow addicted to that. And I imagine like it's also part of it is that when you do practice radical honesty, you tend to feel a sense of like social connection and like bonding with other people, and that's really putting your nervous system in a state of like relaxation. So I imagine there's something there that's like it's good for me to connect with people in that way, to socialize and to like really form close bonds with people.
Hmm. And do you recognize anything that also fundamentally has changed in your behavior, in your thinking patterns ever since you started it up to now? And if yes, what was that or is that?
I mean, yeah, so many things have changed. I started with radical honesty in 2018, and I would say in these last 2 or 3 years I have changed more than I have changed in any part of my life that I remember. Like it feels that way to me. That's my story right now. And I imagine um, before getting in touch with radical honesty, I was really like a people pleaser, both with my behavior and with my appearance. Like every day waking up thinking I had to straighten my hair or put on lots of makeup, shave my legs, do everything to like be okay to go out into the world, like to make myself acceptable. It was like I had this fundamental belief I wasn't acceptable as I am, and I have to fix myself, and I have to, I don't know, take more care of other people than I care for myself. I have to always be considerate, always be nice, always be good. And like now I've changed a lot. Maybe some would say I'm more selfish, but it's like I'm finally learning how to take care of myself. learning like, I actually don't have to do these things that I think I have to do for other people, or like I'm actually enough as I am. That's what's like been the biggest change in my life. And now I'm kind of trying to find out how does that look for me to be me in this world after nearly 30 years of kind of suppressing who I really was, like just to be agreeable because I thought that's what I had to be. Now it's like, okay, who am I? Who am I now? I feel a little bit out of breath talking about it. Like, I imagine that's what the process I'm going through now is, like discovering what does it mean now to show up with my real skin, like my real face, my real personality in the world, and make my life that way.
Yes, yes, it touches me deeply, and I have goosebumps all over right now. And in radical honesty, there's this gesture that means like, I know that so well. I know your place. I resonate with you. And I was like, I want to do this all the time. Everything you are saying is like, yes, I know that. Yes. And before you said like you experienced to get back towards your body feelings. Was it at the beginning, was it difficult for you? Did you feel a resistance to not feel your body?
Um, I don't I don't remember like a specific feeling of resistance to feeling my body, but it wasn't like, I think at the beginning it was uncomfortable to pay attention to the physical sensations. Yeah, to like, because oftentimes they were uncomfortable physical sensations that would have been easier for me to just ignore. But after doing it enough, like after getting more and more practice with a lot of workshops with Tuulia and Peach, where they always kind of guided me to feel my body in the eloquent way that they do. Like, I think they're really talented coaches. And then I started realizing like, what they say is right. Like, my body has so much information to offer me, I can use this as, so now, like after some time, it just really became like a positive thing. Like, there was no resistance anymore, but like, good, like, oh good, my body's telling me what I need now. Like, yeah, I mean, that doesn't happen to me all the time, like, but I can remember one specific experience where I was sitting at work one day and I was feeling like I could just start crying. I felt like sick to my stomach, like I could puke, like I felt really physically unwell. And I just realized like, oh, I need to have a talk with my boss, and I need to like I need to ask if I can reduce my hours. And in the end, in 2019, I did that, and I was so glad I did it. So yeah, that's one example of how I kind of used this practice of noticing my physical sensations to like recognize what I need to do in my life.
Yes. I imagine that's something that we all more or less consciously want to get back to feel our body, to listen to all the signals of the intuition, which is so pro us and is so life-saving. And before you also said when you were starting to refeel your body, and all the time before that, when you kind of lost that, mm, yeah, the training of feeling the body. Can you trace back when you kind of lost it? When was that? And do you actually remember the time before that you were in touch with your body?
Uh, hmm, Good question. Well, I imagine as children, I imagine I was more in touch with my body, like as a child, and I think we all are. Um, in my like, so I don't really have like a memory like of this, and like a physical sense of being embodied or not, and feeling my being so connected to my body at that time. But I have a story about it. Like, I imagine that, like, for example, in my family, it wasn't really like um, encouraged to be angry, to be mad. So I imagine a lot of times when I did start to get angry or mad, I just shut that sensation down. Like, it was a physical sensation arising in me, but it would get punished by my parents. So I had to kind of like shut it down. Julia often does this good like movement to kind of, I don't know exactly how she does it. It's something like this, like in the chest, like a feeling of like holding it down, holding it down. And then you, I guess as a young teenager or something, that's probably when I really started to do that.
Yeah, and really, it's also a kind of a mechanism that our system takes on to shelter itself. So it's nothing that we can judge as something negative.
Yeah.
And when we are adult and when we learn to shelter ourselves with other possibilities, then inside it can reopen slowly. And what I really appreciate is the method of reality checks. Doing reality checks with other people during an exchange of resentment or appreciation. Do I project on you? Am I totally wrong on what I see in you now? Or is there some truth in that on your side too?
Mm-hmm.
And then I experience sometimes that somebody says, no, everything is just fine. And inside of me, there is a voice like, I don't believe you. And I realized that it's still something inside of me that is has to transform. It's really my work that I have to do.
Mm.
How
Yeah.
does this resonate with you, or what does that bring up?
Um, what did I just think about? It's going from my mind now. Um, yeah, I think what it brings up in me is just this, like that's why I love practicing radical honesty so much, because I find it very safe when we're just dealing with like reality. Like there's nothing, like in a way radical honesty is really objective. It's just like I notice this thought in my mind, I notice this physical sensation in my body, and like when you just talk like that, there's nothing really so scary or dangerous like to argue about, or to like that can really hurt you. Like we're just exploring like what's here in this space around us and inside of us, like, and yeah, so that's somehow what it brings up in me. Like I feel very comforted with that, like because I feel much more like scared and threatened when I'm talking with somebody who's just like off in their imagination, and they're blaming me or arguing or like having some strong story that like doesn't have any, like they don't even see that it's not a fact, or that is it just a thought in their mind, and they hold on to it as truth. So yeah, I'm somehow very comforted by like the idea that we're just exploring reality together, and that's not threatening. Yet so many people are very threatened, I think, by the idea of radical honesty. Like sometimes I will meet someone and tell them what I do, like that I want to be a radical honesty trainer, and then they hear the words radical honesty and they almost like do this, like, okay, that's nice, but stay away, you know. I
Yes.
find it interesting.
Yes, whenever I mention this in English or in German, radikale Ehrlichkeit, I'm confronted with, well, radical, that doesn't sound as a nice word. And sometimes I dare to say, well, it comes from the Latin word radix, which means Wurzel. How do you say
Yeah,
that in
roots.
English?
Roots.
Root, yes, it's a root. So it's a work that starts at the roots. And
That's very good that you bring that up. I'll use that next time.
yes, so radical is not what we made out of it
Hmm.
as a meaning nowadays as we use it. It's thus the core, it's the roots of how we tick and how we think and how we act and how we talk, and as you say, the closer we look at it, the less scary it gets.
Yeah, it's
And
kind of just like being a scientist, like observing what's happening in your mind, observing what's happening in your body, and reporting that, and then just share, like being curious about other people, what's happening for them, and like to me, this is so non-controversial. Like it's just we're just reporting what we notice. That's
yeah,
basically what we do it, and yeah,
yes.
I found great like freedom in that.
Mm. And how does it change for you in your own life when you're alone and not around people?
When I'm alone, um, hmm. I think there's like for me, as you probably have seen in my Facebook stories and my article, like on my blog, I write a lot about my body image and like my body hair. So that's one big part of it for me that I learned that like actually I don't want to wake up and shave every day. Like I don't want to wake up and shave my legs every day like I thought I had to do for 27 years of my life. Um, like I realized, oh, I actually like myself natural. So that's one part of my journey with radical honesty. It doesn't have to be that way for everybody. It's not like when you start practicing radical honesty, you have to stop shaving your legs. You know, it's absolutely not a required requirement. But for me, that was like a really profound thing. Like accepting myself physically as I am, and learning to love, learning to love myself in that. Like I've done the naked work we do at the 8-day intensive retreats. I've done that now 3 times, and I'll go back to another 8-day in February as a co leader. So I'm really excited. Yeah, that work was powerful for me to the first time I did the naked work and like watched myself on this will sound crazy if you haven't heard about it already, but you stand in front of the group, everyone's naked, you talk about your body and your what you like about it, what you don't like about it, your sexual history, naked in front of a group of people, and there's
Who are
coaches
also naked.
who are also naked. There's coaches who are coaching you through it, and you notice all the sensations coming up in your body while you do it, and you're being video recorded, so you can then watch yourself back. And the first time I did it, to be honest, like I looked at myself in the camera, my naked body in the camera, like on the screen, and I felt so much like hate for myself somehow. Like I had like violent fantasies about towards myself because I didn't think I fit the image of how I should look as a woman or whatever. And then like the next few times I did it, I looked at myself with so much love. Like, so it has really been like a journey for me to come to love myself. And I feel that now when I'm alone, like you asked, like I just do more things to take care of myself, to check in with myself, to see how I'm doing, to like ask myself, am I angry at this person, or do I have some unexpressed appreciation? And I just and I give myself full permission to just let it all out, like let myself be 100% as I am, even if that means doing something I wouldn't normally deem cool, or I don't know, like, yeah, like for example, sending, I remember having, I guess that's one example, is like I was mad at some guy I dated, and we didn't really have any contact anymore, and I didn't really want to have physical contact with him anymore, but I let myself just send him a really angry voice message, and I was very messy, and I just let out all my feelings, and like in the end I think he appreciated me for it. Like, so it was just like like I just allow myself to be this way, to feel this way, to say it, to express it, and that's like what I notice, especially when I'm alone, like how I still benefit from radical honesty. I'm not sure what to say now, and I'm trying to wrap it up nicely.
Yes, yes. And relate to what you're saying, and I'm wondering, what about the other side? Like somebody comes towards you and resents you, or like what you would get a voice message like that. What does that do to you, and how did that change?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, I guess these days, if somebody does send me an angry voice message or come up to me and resent me, I mean, just last night I had my radical honesty meetup here, and somebody like really resented me, like faced me very seriously, looked into my eyes, and in a loud voice told me he's angry at me. And like when that does happen now, I'm actually quite grateful for that experience. I think in the past, like people just hid their anger from me. And now I look at it like, oh, it's a chance for us to connect. It's a chance for us to like actually talk about something real. Like this person's really sharing what's going on for me right now. So I usually just appreciate them. And I feel like this is a chance to deepen our relationship. And even the guy who I had this experience with last night, he said, I imagine in 2 days we're both going to be really grateful for each other, you know, like that we had this, like we resented each other and we got over it, and that
Yeah.
now we are even closer. So yeah, for me, it's like, it's not always fun. Like I had another friend, a radical honesty friend, who told me something the other day, which was, I judge like very mean, like I hurt myself with what he said to me. And I'm still just grateful for the friendship that I have with him, that he feels comfortable enough to tell me whatever he truly thinks and feels. Like I feel safe. I feel much safer in that than I do with people who hide from me how they really feel.
Yeah. So would you say you have is this like a growing of the capacity of carrying your own feelings, emotions, bodily sensations? Is that like a growing container? And so if somebody does make you hurt yourself, um, it's okay. It gets okay. It still is there, but since the container isn't small and it's like a fight inside, the container is bigger, and that's fine. I can feel that, and there's still room for the appreciation around the resentment, maybe. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, there's definitely like
Or how
a,
do you put it?
I think this work definitely helps you to increase your capacity to feel all things and to like be present with all kinds of emotions and experience that come up and not be so frightened away by them, but just like, oh, this is another experience and it's changing all the time. Like, I think that's a fundamental assumption behind radical honesty, is that things are changing all the time. So you like, I don't have to be so scared about feeling uncomfortable sensations or being resented or feeling angry myself, because I know it's changing anyway all the time. Like, and yeah, mm, I forget what else I wanted to say about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like the container gets bigger, and you get along with all that's happening inside of you. Yeah. You were mentioning your meetup group. Is there a possibility to join that for people who would be interested, or what is it about that?
hmm hmm Yeah, this is something I'm so happy about. I'm so happy and grateful that we started this group. So I live in Linz, Austria, and we had our first ever radical honesty workshop here, I think in April 2019. Yeah. And I'm really happy that after that workshop, we just had the idea, like, let's start a WhatsApp group, let's start a meetup group. So we did that, and we've pretty much been having meetups every single week for now nearly 2 years, just coming together one evening a week and being together and practicing radical honesty. And yeah, these people have kind of turned into my family. So I can really recommend, if you have a workshop taking place in your city, like, start a group afterwards, like start a little community of other people who want to continue this practice. And yeah, so like anyone who's in Linz and who has some experience with radical honesty is welcome to join our group. But yeah, right now it's just people in the area.
Yeah. And with your experience, what is your recommendation for the size? How should it be not bigger than so and so many participants? And what about the time frame?
I think I guess it works best when people in the group just like do the work asking for what they want. Like, I always encourage people in my group to just say, like, hey, I want to meet this Friday, or I want to meet on Sundays, and like just make your own suggestions and then see who else wants to join with you. So for us, we found it like it works really well to meet on a weekday after work, and we just come together at like 5 or 6 in the evening. Usually it doesn't really, there's no limit to how many people can show up. I mean, Linz is a small town. We don't have like hundreds and hundreds of people wanting to practice radical honesty here yet. But yeah, we have, I don't know, a group that's usually somewhere from like 4 people to, it could be maximum like 25 people,
Okay.
um, like in the total community, or 30 people in the whole community. But they're usually not all at the meetings.
Yes. And do you have any experiences in the comparison between live and via internet, which is growing
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah, we started doing our meetups online when the first lockdown started. And yeah, I think some people became more involved and some people became less involved and didn't attend the online meetings. And I really have a preference for in-person meetings. I just, I mean, yeah, to be honest, like from my perspective, I'm living in a city and a country where I don't have any family here. Like, I'm the only one of my family in Austria, and I've just been here a few years, and for me, like, my radical honesty group is now my family. So like, I consider that when we meet up, it's a family gathering, and it's for my mental health and well-being. And so yeah, don't tell anybody, but we did meet like in our little 5-person group a few times the last weeks, even though there's technically a lockdown, because it's important for our sanity. Like, especially me, I don't know, I'm a person I'm not like I said, I don't have that many other connections here. So this group of people who come together every week with me, they've been like life-saving during the lockdown. And yeah, there's lots of things happening online, which I think is awesome if you have nothing else available.
Yeah.
But I definitely do prefer the live in-person events like workshops or meetups or anything, because there's this just much more space for contact and connection.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to when we can join workshops again this year in
Yes,
person.
definitely. Yeah. So for people who have no idea about radical honesty, or maybe just enough to be curious about watching this video, what would you want to tell them? Yeah, what would you want to tell them? Question mark.
Hmm. Well, yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind is something like number one, you're allowed to be who you are, how you are. Like you are allowed to be you. And I don't want anyone to like tell you differently. And number two, it's not something you need to be afraid of. And then at the same time, I think number three, like I want you to come to this when it feels right for you. Like I don't want anybody to feel forced into radical honesty. I think it doesn't work that way. I think like if it resonates with you, great, try it out and have this experience of like doing the practice. But yeah, like for many people, it might not be the right thing right now. Like maybe they need to read another book about something else, or have another, experience in another kind of method. And I imagine a lot of these like different practices are all kind of like awareness-based practices. Like they all somehow have a common, uh, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it was actually you I heard talking about this with Tuulia. Does that sound familiar? Like different methods, how they kind of have a similar outcome or like goal, or yeah, I'm not sure. I heard
Yeah.
that somewhere, and that's what comes to me now. It's like
Yes.
you might find what you're looking for through radical honesty or through something else. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. I'm sensing into myself, and I do feel some connection to you, which I'm surprised, as we don't know each other, and even we haven't done the work, the radical honesty practical work right now. It's just that certain space and that knowing that you know the work and that I know the work, which gives me a certain connected feeling to you.
Oh, I love hearing that. I love that. Yeah, I'm smiling because it's like that is somehow the beauty of this work, that like there's this like when we both say, yeah, radical honesty, yeah, let's do that. Like we have this like place we meet, and then I think that's a beautiful, I don't know how to describe it. It's like what you're feeling right now and what I feel right now with you. Like I don't know you that well, but I already feel connected. Like there's this bridge between us, and I love that.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And it is really that space for me, my experience, that space which makes me even more capable of really getting into my body, like feeling this shiver on my skin now, and which I know is a positive sign, definitely. Um, that's something I wouldn't probably feel so strongly when I'm by myself. And it's much the space for the allowance to feel my body is, for me, is bigger and richer when there's someone there, somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's also something I like, that somehow I notice in doing this work, it's such like interpersonal work, like you're in contact with the other. And somehow like I find that that's where the most learning and growth can come from. Like there's something about like being in the company of another person that just changes you, and how you like, if I don't know how to describe it. I think I'm really motivated by other people, and then somehow my awareness also changes when I'm with other people as well. Like, and I don't know how to describe it, but somehow it's like this is my personal bias. Like I imagine I have some friends who are very much into meditation, and like kind of would say like, oh, we don't need to express our resentments, we don't need to like say all this stuff out loud, we can just meditate ourselves into like a higher state, or to a place where everything's good, but for me, I'm losing my train of thought again.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
just
But I know what you mean. Like
the-
we can do that. We can meditate together, and then we meet at another level. But the other level is there still too, and it's
Yeah.
kind of forgotten. It's left back, it's left behind. And if we do the radical honesty work and then we meditate together, we take the body with us, with it. The
Yeah.
materialistic world we will take back up into the spiritual
Beautiful.
world.
Mm.
Is that like that?
I like what you said a lot. Yeah. I don't know. Somehow, sometimes my mind is going blank and I'm getting lost in my stories, I guess.
I know that place too. And that's again something that Tuulia put it the way she said, lending each other's nervous systems.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I get lost in my mind, and if somebody else gets lost in his or her mind, then it's difficult. Then the nervous system is kind of not dissociated necessarily, but it's hard to keep track. But I definitely experience the difference. If it's somebody who is also informed about this, then it's not that bad. It doesn't lead to a bad place. And somehow, and that's what I mean, if two people get together, there is some energy which helps one and then the other to get back down again.
Mm-hmm.
You need the time. I think that's what we don't give each other very often. It's like, oh, something is wrong. Okay, let's say goodbye. Stick together, stay together, get through this. Even if it's like two people who are in a lost place, yeah, and there is no third facilitator. That was a question that I had asked Tuulia too. Like, what is your experience if you don't have a facilitation? And my experience, at least during the last weeks, as if there's a big change going on right now. Within the last weeks, it's like if there are two and they get lost together and they stand to it, they stand up to it. They say, I'm lost too. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Or even
yeah,
just breathing together and just taking a moment to be silent together. Yeah. That's amazing that we can accomplish so much by doing so little, like, but with each other, you know?
yes, right. So this shall be an invitation for everybody to stay, and not run away. Yeah.
Yeah. That's currently my biggest like passion at the moment. Like I think that's what this whole journey with radical honesty has taught me, is that I really want to live in a world where people are there for each other. I think that's why I like it so much. Like I want to live in a world where we take care of each other and we're there for each other. That I make that very important to me. And so I find it so beautiful to witness people who are willing to do what you just described and come together, like, you know, be there throughout whatever happens, be open to whatever is happening between them, and stay in contact and stay and wait until it passes and get over it together, or just come to a different place together. Like I was assisting Tuulia and Pete at a online couples workshop they held like last week or so, and it was just so beautiful to witness like these 6 couples and all of them just like really coming together with this willingness to be present with the other one and to stay and find out what's going to happen. Like just that's the beauty of radical honesty, and that's like I want to live in a world where people are there for each other. Like we don't just run away when things get tough. And um, yeah, yeah. I imagine
Yes.
now I'm trying to convince. I don't want to be too attached to my agenda.
Ah,
Mm.
so very nice. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's a good point to like send out this invitation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
I want to say I'm going to be I'm currently in the trainee program with Honesty Europe, and that means if all goes well and COVID doesn't keep us locked in too much longer, we'll have a lot of in-person workshops in Germany, in Finland, around Europe, and I'll be there assisting Tuulia and Pete. And I would love to see you there if you're watching this video. As my little sales pitch, and also like, yeah, I'm excited to actually do that and see people in person and do this work together
yeah.
in the
I,
flesh.
I will put some notes below. So whatever you want me to put in there, let me know, and then I will put it underneath.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. I appreciate you for this, for wanting to interview me and for your questions. And I appreciate anyone who's watching. Thank you. I make myself feel special that I was that you asked me to interview me.
Yeah, now you make me feel special too. I appreciate you for your honesty. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Anja.
Thank you. Bye-bye.